Hey, what's up? This is Gary from Raz Rentals. I can't even begin to explain to you how excited I was to come home from work today because I knew waiting for me on my steps was this awesome Ecto-1, this brand new Hasbro Ecto-1 re-release. Ever since Hasbro announced that this was coming out, I've been dying to get it. I couldn't wait to take a look at the brand new packaging, and most of all, I couldn't wait to open it up and take a look at the new vehicle. See how it compares to the original. Does it still have some of the same design flaws that the original had, or have they improved upon it at all? Before I start going into further detail, I do want to mention real quick that Walmart did an excellent job packing this for a change. They actually used bubble wrap, and I'm super happy with the condition this came in. I mean, I am going to open it, but I'm going to at least keep the box. Way back when, in December of 2020, I released a review of the original 1986 Ecto-1. In that video, I discussed my love for the car, I also showed how it looked in the movie and how it looked in the cartoon, and kind of just talked about how accurate this toy was to both the movie and the cartoon. I also discussed the 1A a little bit too in there. But some of my video was also me discussing how I was hoping that Hasbro would re-release this thing and possibly fix some of the design flaws I think the original toy had. The plastic wasn't the best. The way that it was built around the windows breaks really easily. So I can't wait to open this thing up and take a look at it. In this video, I'm not really going to discuss the history and all that kind of stuff about the Ecto. All I'm pretty much going to do is compare this new car to the original release. As you can see right off the bat here, these boxes are gigantic, right? I have to zoom out so far just to be able to show both of them on the screen. The original release up top here is pretty much the same, width across as the brand new one. If you turn it to the side though, the original one was probably like an inch deeper than this one. Hopefully they didn't shrink this thing down. We'll see. We will see, and we will critique this. All right. On the back here, let's see. Trying to get rid of that glare. All right. On the back here, all these pictures look kind of the same, except this one looks like a digital recreation of this picture. There's something weird about this. That looks like 3D or fake or something. That's strange. Same thing with this. The car, it almost looks the same, but it's not. I don't know what they did here, because they could have easily just used the original pictures from way back when, but that is not what they did here. You could just tell by some of the glares and stuff like that. And like I said, there's something about this. It appears like a 3D model or something. And even up here, you have the picture. And they didn't actually use a picture of Peter here. It's like a black and white Ghostbuster. I guess it could be any of the Ghostbusters. I don't know why they did that, but that's kind of strange. But up there, you have Peter spinning around. Let's see. It's not bad. It's just pointing out some differences here. Down here you have different logos on the bottom. Look at that. They have the official GM licensed product logo right there. That's pretty cool. And then you got this little tiny thing here you can scan. I don't know what that's about, but whatever. You have all this information down here. And all you have up here is gunner seat swivels and ghost blasters rotate to shoot in any direction. Gunner seat stores inside for undercover work. The real Ghostbusters hero action figure sold separately. Move the Ecto-1 forward and reel the ghost in. Ghost included. But down here it doesn't tell you any of these action features, which is kind of interesting. They have all this stuff right here. 30 ways of saying figure not included. And includes vehicle, seat, ghost, sticker, seat, sheet, and instructions. And then they just repeat it 30 times here for every single country, I guess, that they're going to send this thing to. Let's see, on this side, you got pretty much the exact same thing. And like I said, that looks like I don't know, doesn't look like a real picture. But then up here, you have the original picture with Peter in the chair. All right, so let's talk about the actual picture of the Ecto-1 on the front. Here's the cover of the original 1986 Real Ghostbusters Ecto-1 from Kenner. Now, this is like an amazing piece of artwork, you know? Like, you'd love to blow this thing up and put it on the wall as like a poster or something like that. You know, it's really cool. I love how the Ecto-1 is so sharp and looks sort of like realistic, even though it's obviously like a painting of this exact toy. And the Ghostbusters themselves look very cartoony. A little off model than usual. Like Winston here, he's sort of got like a green outfit on instead of like his like, I don't know, like sky blue or what kind of blue you call baby blue outfit he wears, uniform. If you look at the Ghost logo, the No Ghost logo down here, this is, you could tell, is hand drawn. You know, it's not an exact recreation here of the actual Ghostbusters logo. You know, there's a little bit of a difference here. And like, you know, this claw is dark. I'm trying to point out some things that we're going to talk about when we show the new one. If you look at this line here on this light, you can see that it's a very straight line that comes down to this corner and then comes all the way down here. Like I said, you could tell that this was all done by hand. You know, this is way before people were making stuff on computers. There's even this little tiny piece here where the rope kind of clips with the window. Like they didn't paint the background all the way in there. So it kind of makes it look like there's like a little white chunk in the middle. And also, if you look at Egon's hair here, you got 1 point here, 1 point here, and 1 point there. So you got 3 points in Egon's shading for his hair. Okay? And like I said, this is a very, very nice cover. If you look down at the bottom here, it says contents, 1 action figure and 1 ghost figure, or action vehicle, I mean. Over here, you have some other wording and, you know, stuff like that. So let's take a look at the new one. Just like every other Hasbro reissue, you can tell that I think what they did is they probably scanned the original artwork and then made like a vector image, like converted it into a vector image or something like that, because it looks very similar, but there's also a lot of differences too. Like, and it's very sharp, you know, it's not as, I don't know, like soft looking as the original artwork. If you look at Egon's hair here, it looks like you have an extra peak in the shading. If you look at here, like I was talking about this this light and the other one, right? You had a very solid straight line. Here it like comes into like a triangle point on top there. You know, the claw over here is a lot brighter. Even like the way that this ghost looks over here, he looks a lot brighter than he does on the original one. On the door here, you can see that they must have like, you know, superimposed an actual logo, a No Ghost logo there, because it looks exactly the same. And they also added like a gradient on the top and bottom of the door that you can't really see in the original release. Like the original release, the door kind of looked all white. I don't think that was just necessarily because of fading or whatever. I think that they possibly added some of that. So like it is a cool recreation of it. To me, it just kind of loses some of that like human quality or something like that, where I think it looks good. You know, I'm not going to say it looks bad or anything like that, but there's just something about like airbrushing techniques and stuff like that that I kind of admire and like. And, you know, you kind of lose that once you start making everything into like a vector image or something. Also, a lot of the notes are gone, like all the white lettering or the words are missing down the bottom. And also, if you wanted to know, the original one has the same top and bottom as this one. I didn't talk about this when I was showing them next to each other, but like the top just has another image of the Ecto-1, you know, or the same image, and the bottom just kind of has the same image with some wording and stuff like that. That's exactly how the original one is too. So that's it for the box. So what do you say we open this sucker up already, huh? All right, now it might not be that big of a deal, but I just, you know, this makes me giddy inside, you know, it makes me happy. The side of this, you know, it's taped together just like all the original Ghostbuster toys were taped. You know, that might not be that big of a deal, but they could have made like some kind of flap or something like that here. You know, it just kind of takes me back, you know. Sure, lots of toys are still taped together, but I don't know. There's something about it just makes me happy. Now, I don't have an open Ecto-1, so I don't really know what the trays or anything like that look inside. You know, this is all new to me, so maybe some of this stuff will be sort of similar, but I kind of think that it'll probably be a lot different since this box isn't as deep as the original one. So you got these extra flaps here sort of keeping this in place. Then you just got a little piece of here. Like, there's nothing in the top there. All right. All right, so it's wrapped in toilet paper. That's cool. Maybe if there's a toilet paper shortage this year, we can save this and use it for when we need it. Here you got the seat. And here is the instructions. Now, is there a sticker sheet in here? Aha. Oh, that's lame. That sucks. I hate, like, why would you do this? Why would you crease the sticker page like this? That's awful. Like, I hate when they do stuff like that, you know? That's gonna look weird. Or you're gonna have to try really hard to flatten it out. So that's everything out of the package. Now, one of the biggest problems the original Ecto-1 has... Ooh, look at that. This Ecto-1 Ghost, he looks pretty good. He looks very similar. We'll see how he compares to the original one, if he's a lot smaller or what. He already has like these indents on his feet. I think that's different. I'm pretty sure. That's how like all the original, or all these re-releases of the Ghosts had those like indents. So the biggest problem that a lot of people have with the gunner seat is that the seatbelts break. Now, this plastic does seem a little thicker, so that is good, but we will take a closer look a little bit later. All right, now we have the Ecto itself. Well, most of the plastic looks and sort of feels the same. So, like, because one of the biggest issues that I usually see on used Ecto-1s is the window frames. They break all the time. They'll snap, and then the top will start to, like, you know, pop off. Because this top is only kept up here because of these tiny little window frames. This thing is pretty accurate, and I wouldn't... There's nothing here that I can see that's kind of structured differently than the original. Like I said, the plastic might feel like a little harder, or maybe a little higher quality than the original one, but well, I'll take a closer look as soon as I pull the other one out. Now the door is not like clicking into place like the original one does. Let's see here. Ooh, they have like a... This actually is a pretty good idea, because one of the problems too with the original one is that this piece down here will break, and you know, so that's cool that they actually included like a cover over this. That's pretty good too. All right, so I'm gonna put the stickers on this, and I'll be back in a second. So here it is, completely out of the package and with the stickers all in place. And you know what? You know, like I said, the stickers had those creases, but they kind of... Once I started to stick them onto the car here, the creases didn't really cause much of a problem for me, you know? Like, it still went on nice and smooth. So, you know, I was overreacting a little bit, all right? Now, one thing I did notice that's different between the logos here is that the original stickers for the original car, it's actually shaped like this indent here, where this is just the logo. Like, you got to cut out of the logo that you got to try to get it in there and line it up perfectly so that it's, you know, nice and flush within that indent. The original one, like I said, it's cut exactly like that. It has the white barrier around it. So, you know, just be careful when you're putting that on there. Like the Ecto-1 logo for the license plates, those are a little tricky just because of how you have to stick them in there. You know, just try to get it nice and straight. Same thing with the window. Like, I have it, it's like off just like a hair, you know. It's almost perfect in there, but you got a little bit of a lip on this side, and over this side you're just a little too far over, you know. I guess I probably could have tried to get that a little more perfect, but you know, it's not that bad. I think it's still pretty good. And like I said, you know, this looks awesome. You know, this is like a very faithful recreation of that original Ecto-1 that we all loved when we were kids. And the plastic just feels nice and sturdy, you know. It feels a lot heavier or something compared to the original one. And I'm going to show a comparison in a little bit, but man, it just looks great, you know. Get your guy and you have him standing next to there. Man, does that take me back or what? Yeah, so well, all right, let's get into the comparison here and see what all they improved upon. You know, how is this different than the original 1986 release? All right, so this is going to be tricky because these vehicles are gigantic. You know, they're huge, and it's kind of hard to get them situated in both on screen and show enough of them that it actually, you know, looks right and everything. So let's see here. Here's something interesting. Like if you look on the original one, these are very square. Like all these little things here, they look more like, you know, squares with rounded corners. That's what they look like. Even the lights. The way the lights are set up, they look a little different. I wonder if they had to recreate this piece at all. I mean, it looks very similar, just you can notice like certain little things about it. Like I said, I think the plastic of this is like better quality than this original plastic. Like this thing, like I said earlier, you know, these window frames break so easily. Like every time I get a used Ecto-1, like the majority of the time, those are broken. You know, it's always tricky trying to find one without broken window frames. But like you can just feel it. The way like you can just feel how heavy this feels and how sturdy it feels. Even like down here in the bottom, like you see how I'm like trying to pull this out. Like it's a lot thicker, I think, than the original one. The original one, you can pull this out. So yeah, be careful. This is obviously way more white than this one. You know, this is, you know, either yellowed over time or what, or maybe it was just off-white to begin with. I have no idea. This is very white. It's very nice. Now, here's something that's really cool too, is on the original one, you had this very thick seam that kind of came down here, and then it kind of continues down here and goes all the way down to the front of the car. It's the same on both sides. Now, the brand new one from Hasbro does not have this seam at all. So it's seamless and it's all nice and smooth. So that's pretty cool. You know, that's an upgrade. I would say that this seems a little smaller. Just like, I don't know, like you could see like where the top of the window here is here and where it is here. And it's like, I don't know, like 1/8 of an inch or like 1/4 of an inch shorter than this, just by like a little bit, you know. Not much at all. So that is something to think about. Let's see. I don't have my ruler. It's probably just a tad bit, you know, thinner too. I don't know. Oops. All right, like I said, if you look at the sticker here, this sticker actually fills in this whole spot. You know, the windows have fogged up over time and have gotten a little strange. This one, the windows are nice and clear. That all looks really great. You know, that looks fantastic. You know, sometimes companies do like reissues and they kind of screw them up a little bit. I'm sure if you've watched any of my other videos, you know who I'm talking about. But, you know, this looks great. Like, I've been very, very pleased with all these Hasbro real Ghostbusters re-releases. I think they're great. Let's see here. One big problem the original had was opening this back door. You know, like I said many times before in this video already, these window frames are very flimsy, very thin, and the plastic, you know, whether it was like that originally or just kind of aged over time, it's brittle. So when you open this up, you have to be very careful that you're not putting too much pressure on these window frames because they will break. You know, like I said, I've broken them before. I've bought some that have been broken. My son has broken some of them. So, you know, you have like sort of like these little tabs sticking off the side, and this side sticks off a little further. You just got to be very careful when you're opening up that original one. There you go. This new one seems to pop open very easily. Now, I don't know if this is something that if you were a kid and you were like rolling this around on the ground or, you know, in your kitchen or whatever, if this would pop open a lot, you know, you don't want that to happen either. Like, you don't want it to be so loose because like right now, it's not really clicking into place or anything. So I would imagine that this is going to pop open a lot, which is, you know, you never wanted that when you were a kid. Like when I was a kid, I think I lost this. So you'd like stick your Ghostbusters inside and then you try to roll it around on the like, you know, the linoleum floor. And then they would just like fly out the back. And then you'd have to go back and pick them up and put them back in. And Peter'd be like, oh, sorry, Egon, we were driving too fast, you know. So you don't want that. But yeah, I don't know. I'll have to try to do an experiment or something. Like I said, you can see that it is still like a tad bit smaller than this one. Height and width. Like this door does look a lot wider than this one. But it looks good. Like even these little shapes inside of here, how the white top connects to the gray bottom, you know, those shapes are a little different. But yeah, like, I'm very happy with this. I think it looks pretty awesome so far. If you take a look at the bottom, again, you'll notice that, you know, you have sort of like a seam here going around in a circle. That's missing from this. So, like, the way that this is made is actually, you know, a little cleaner and a little nicer than this original one. I mentioned it before that I have accidentally, with some other Ecto-1s, or like, you know, when I bought them or whatever, you know, these wheels are kept in by these very thin pieces of plastic. And there are times where these just break and then your wheels come off and, you know, it's a big thing and you throw that Ecto-1 in the garbage. So you don't want it to be like that. And it looks like here they fixed that problem. Like this is another thing I mentioned in my other video, like something that they needed to fix. And like this is great, you know. It's great that they actually have like a covering on this because even when you were a kid, like, I don't know, you'd get all this stuff like screwed up, and then even if you were a kid and you were like too little, you know, you'd start to play around with this stuff and you'd break it and whatever. If you were a kid now and you got this, like, that's perfect, you know. You got some extra protection here, unless you find your dad's screwdriver and then you open it up and then you pull the whole thing apart and then your dad's like, I spent 45 or 50 bucks on this thing and you broke it already in a week. All right, so the claw mechanism, how does it work? Well, on the original one, you take the muffler, and you pull it down, and you kind of like, you put it on the other side, and it kind of lines this track up or whatever. That way, when you pull in the claw in, it makes that cool sound. So you tie up your ghost with the claw, or you grab him with the claw. And as you were driving, you just slowly pull him back into the vehicle. Boom, like that. All right, so the brand new one, you know, it'll work the same exact way. One difference I will point out here is that this string is now white. It used to be black. Another thing, this claw seems a little, you know, where this white plastic is a nice, sturdier plastic than the original one, this claw actually feels like a little too soft. Like he's going to drop this ghost. So, you know, somehow you got to try to grab him with this thing. All right. See how well it works. Oh, it actually works really well. Ooh, very nice. If you roll the original Ecto-1 around from 1986, you know, it's a little bit of a bumpy ride. You know, these treads are pretty, you know, they stick out pretty far, and it's, you know, you really hear that vroom as it's going along. If you roll this brand new one around, Oh, you see that? That's not good. That's a bad thing. Other than that, like this thing is wonderful, but you don't want this door to be this loose that it pops open when they're riding around. Like they're gonna fly out of there. But in general, the wheel rotation is very smooth. The treads seem a little like thinner than the original ones, but it still, works well and does what it's supposed to. If you look at the top rack, like I said, everything is pretty much exactly the same as it was in the original one. Like, I don't know if they recreated these molds or if they still have the molds from the original one. I don't know what they did, but, they did a fantastic job. You can actually see some, now that I'm looking at it from up here, you can actually see some of the seams going across there that I didn't notice before when I was looking at it. But they are definitely, like, nowhere near as sharp or, obstructing as the original one. They blend in pretty well. You can see, like, even, like, the details up here, like these tubes, are a little, like, fatter. The tubes on the bottom, on the original one, they definitely look a little crisper, a little cleaner. If you have the chairs on top, the original one spins around really easily. I don't know if it's because mine is, like, loose or what, or if they're all like that. I don't know. I think they're pretty much all like that. I can't remember them ever really being that stiff, but the brand new one is very, very stiff. Like, it'll stay in place for you really well. Now, here's something interesting. I don't think... Yeah. All right, on the original chair... Let's see. Let's get a closer look here. All right, so if you take a look at the chairs, the original one is in my left hand and the brand new one is in my right. Now, the original chair has two like levers or handles on the right side, and on this side you only have one sticking up and there's like a button there. On this re-release, it looks like they mirrored this side to this side. So maybe there was some kind of damage to the mold or something like that, because yeah, that's exactly the same on both sides, where this one is different. So that is something brand new. As I said before, the seatbelt on this brand new one is so much sturdier. The plastic is so much thicker, which is great. Like the original seatbelt, I don't even like to use it ever because I'm always afraid that I'm going to snap it. This thing snaps extremely easily. The plastic has become brittle. It always was brittle. Even as a kid, I remember I'd have to use rubber bands to try to keep them in place because mine broke really quickly. So this brand new one is like wonderful. It's nice and thick. It seems like it'll last you for at least a little bit longer than the original one. Now, as you can see here, I don't know if this is like squeezed in my original one. But the way that it's built is a little different on the brand new one. Now, I would say that the guns are different, but for some reason they're switched on mine. I don't know why. Like, you see how that is? Like, it's backwards. I don't know if maybe that was just like some kid screwed it up at some point or what. But it is pretty accurate. And let's see this side. Yeah, they made this one up. I don't know. Which is it supposed to be? But the details themselves actually look exactly the same. It's just like a brighter, more like a softer red. Like this is, the original one is very sharp and very like stark or something like that. This new one is more like little kid fire truck red. But it's still really cool. It's good. It'll work. From what I remember, when I took apart one of these things, I think this like light blue dashboard is all one piece, and then you have like the steering wheel sticking out. It always had a lot of really nice detail in there on both sides, the driver and the passenger seat. So that's cool. Let's see how it looks in the brand new one. The brand new one looks like it's all black, but maybe the top is painted light blue like that. I don't know. I kind of like that. I like the black dashboard. It looks like all the same details are there, and you know it looks fine. Even the seat is the same. I didn't really show the other seat, but you have that like little extra bump in the middle there. You can maybe stick your Slimer action figure. Well, not the original real Ghostbusters Slimer, but you could probably stick like the Ecto-1 Slimer sitting next to I don't know, Peter and Ray in the front. If you look in the back of the original Ecto, you'll notice that there's like a hook on top there. I think that's so you can you know, hang the claw up there for whenever you want to put the chair in the back. All right, so I got the claw hanging up on the hook, and now you can put the seat. Now you have a track here, and there's also a circle or like a hole up the top there. So if you want to, and I'm going to be very careful with this, right? You put that seat in there, and you can kind of move it in and out on the track. Or if you want to, you can stick it all the way up to the top. Although that hook, the claw sort of gets in the way. All right, so there. You can fit it in the back seat like that. I never put the seat in the back seat like that. I always keep it up on top and then just put like one of the Ghostbusters on the top seat and have like Egon in the back surrounded by proton packs like he's, you know, he's doing some science stuff while they're driving from bust to bust. On the new release, you still have that hook back up there. But, you know, in the original one, the hook was actually a part of the blue plastic. Like like this light and then the windows are all a part of the same blue plastic that go down to here right above the wheels and then go all the way to the front. This is actually made out of like 3 pieces. You have the gray bottom, you have the white, you know, outer shell, and then you have the blue piece, and it's, you know, it's all kept together or whatever. But what's interesting about this is the new hook is actually its own piece. You know, it's actually screwed in there. It's a separate piece, so that's pretty cool. All right, so you can get the claw up there on that hook again. That's pretty cool. And let's see how the seat goes into this one now. It works pretty well on the track. So that's pretty cool because the original one kind of falls out, you know, if you're trying to put it on the track, but you can, you know, you can stick your Ghostbuster out pretty far. And let's see. Oh, it's actually kind of stuck in there. All right, there we go. Put it in the hole all the way at the top. It's kind of tricky. It's not the best thing when you have that. Yeah, see, I knocked the hook off, but the seat does go into that hole, and you could have that claw up on the hook. All right, so let's take a look at the Ecto-1 Ghost. Now, I said in my original Ecto-1 video that this is like, every time like I find a real Ghostbusters lot at like a yard sale or something like that, it always has the Ecto-1 Ghost. At some point, I think I had like 12 of them or something like that. And, yeah, you could never find like the original ones. And my favorite are the original pack-in ghosts, you know, Gulper, Chomper, Rapper, and what the heck is the last one? Oh, Gulper, Grabber, Chomper, Gulper, Grabber, Chomper, and Rapper. So I like all those, like he's a cool ghost. I just always love those ones. And like I said, I would find these like all the time. So this is the original one, and this is the brand new one. Orange is not the best color to show up on film. You know, it kind of looks a little strange sometimes, a little too saturated or something. But in general, this orange is a little bit darker than the original one, but it also depends on which Ecto-1 Ghost you're comparing it to, because some of these, you know, they vary. The oranges can vary in the original ones. But it looks like you can see all the detail is really nice. It doesn't look like anything has really softened or anything like that. It's still somewhat sharp. Like I said before, the original one, you know, it's just completely flat on the bottom, where this brand new one sort of has like an indentation around the feet. They had to save a little. They had to save as much as they could on the plastic, so they just cut out that little that little area there. You know, they're probably saving like, you know, $500,000 by cutting out that little tiny piece of plastic in every single one of these Ecto-1 Ghosts. So thank goodness for that. Thanks. I'm glad they're, you know, saving themselves some money. The back looks fine too, you know, no complaints. This whole thing is just a great recreation. You know, I have nothing negative to say about this brand new Ecto-1 I can think of. Give me a second. So there's only one thing left to do, and that's to see how the Ghostbusters fit in this thing. First, we're going to see how the reissues look inside of here, And then we're going to see how well the original Ghostbusters fit from 1986, I think. Man, it's a little hard for me to remember. I'm an old man now. All right, so we'll get Ray up on the top here. Now, all right, if I take off his proton pack, will that fit a little better across his gut? I don't know, I'm having a little hard time fitting that across him. You might have to put Peter up there or something, because it's not going across his belly. Oh my gosh. Well, after that technical issue, let's see how this fits here. All right, so Peter, does the seatbelt fit with him? I don't know. This seatbelt doesn't really fit that well across him either. I mean, I could probably try to force it, but you wouldn't think that you would have to. So, and like I said, I don't remember. I don't think it's. The length does not look that much different than the original, and I haven't tried to force the seatbelt on the original toys. I always leave it off, so. Oh, there we go. See, it pops in there, but like I said, even now, even with this new one that's much sturdier and thicker, I'm like, oh man, it's gonna break. All right, so let's get Ray in here. Drop Winston off the side. There you go. So I got all 4 Ghostbusters in. And that's looking pretty good. These are all the reissues. So let's see how it looks with the original. All right, so hopefully these guys fit in here pretty well. Already I can tell you that they are, you know, they're a little bigger. Maybe I'll try to put them in the same assortment that I had the reissues. So all right, so I had Winston as the driver. He fit in there pretty well. I think it doesn't seem like there's as much like leg room underneath the steering wheel, but as long as you can get him in there, you know, that's fine. Maybe Ray just can't sit in front of the steering wheel because his gut is too big. I usually have Peter in the passenger seat anyways. They almost look like their vision is obstructed by the top of the car. Get Egon in the back and Peter up top. I mean, it works. I wanted to see how the originals look inside of the original Ecto-1, just to, you know, make sure everything was all right. And like the original one sort of has the same problem, so it's not like the new one is like too small or anything like that. Even on the original one, it looks like their heads are kind of going into the roof of the car, but you know, so the new one is, in my opinion, the brand new car is a perfect substitute for this original car if you've never picked up the original one from way back in the 80s. And there you have it. Quite possibly one of the best reissues I've ever seen. Everything is almost exactly like the original, and I would dare to say it, all the problems I had with the original Ecto-1, you know, its flimsy, brittle plastic and, you know, just, I mean, I understand some of it is due to age, but some of it is due to how they originally made those things back in the day. I smashed the crap out of mine, and like I said, getting a used one in good shape is always difficult because a lot of points are always broken. And this thing like seems like they fixed them all. It's like I'm sure they didn't watch my video, but it's like they heard me telepathically, I guess. They fixed all the things I talked about. Like everything on this is better. If you don't have the original Ecto from the 1986 release, get this. This is fantastic. This is perfect. It's way cheaper than the original one will cost you, and everything is better. It's wider, it's cleaner than most of the Ectos you find. Like I said, I can't recommend this enough. I think it's great. I think they did an amazing job here. I wish a lot of other companies who are making reissues would sort of, upgrade their things just like Hasbro did here. This is great, So good job, Hasbro. I'm glad. I can't wait to see what next you put out. I can't wait to see what other re-releases you're thinking of doing. Or I would love it if you would just add to the real Ghostbusters line. Give me some new toys that look like they're in the same line from way back in the 80s. So thanks for watching. Let me know what you think, and talk to you later.